The Singapore Living Galleries, located in the National Museum of Singapore, present stories of Singapore's ordinary people and social elite with the use of art, technology, and popular culture in an innovative and engaging way. These galleries present the complexities of the country's history and the layered multicultural identity of its people through themes. One of them is film and wayang.
My name is Warren. I'm a programmer at the National Museum of Singapore. Film started from the West in terms of the technology. So we have the Lumiere brothers, who invented a device for recording images onto celluloid and everything. They naturally will shoot things around them, like factory workers leaving the factory, or a Sunday lunch and shooting in their guns and all that. And of course, it's natural for them to think that if we get that camera, which is not very big, and send people out and to Japan, to the exotic East, to the Middle East, and bring those moving images back, and I'm sure it'll be a big sensation, which it is.
The film section explores the production and consumption of films in Singapore from the 1950s to the 1970s, where the social history of leisure is traced through a display of cinema-related paraphernalia, such as tickets, handbills, posters, and magazines. In 1942, Singapore fell into the hands of the Japanese. They took over our land. They took over our resources. They took over everything. What happened to the film industry in Singapore?
Very little is known about that whole period. Obviously, the concerns are not in filmmaking anymore. And in Singapore, one is led to believe that there are such films shot in Singapore during wartime. Of course, those films are also lost. The existence of these films are only through maybe a pamphlet here or newspapers of that time. In the film gallery, there's a section of Japanese film, indeed, yes. But those films are way after the war, maybe in the 50s, 10 years after the war. Japanese films did not suffer much after the war. In fact, they became huge, and those films travel widely around Asia. And in Singapore, as you can see in the film gallery, the films are dubbed in Mandarin for local consumption. It's only after the war Shaw Brothers actually set up to start producing films in Singapore, and they built a studio, which is now the Jalan Ampas studio, still standing, to make primarily Malay films. So they started the Malay film production. Malay film production is like a part of the Shaw industry. They didn't just build on making films alone. You see, they also built like huge attractions center. The IR of it is there, the Happy World, Great World, and Gay World. It's part of film culture then. You see, when television just got its start, and this mass entertainment includes going to the movies. So that's where the Shaw Brothers went into full gear in their whole filmmaking endeavour in Singapore, followed shortly by the Cathay organization, who also made their Malay films under Cathay Keris. So both these companies actually doesn't just make film, they actually buy the properties that their cinema halls sit on, and they grew from there. You see, a rivalry between these two companies who does Malay films, and And I think it is this rivalry that spur the industry forward. By the early 60s, we have like quite a high standard of filmmaking at that point. But it doesn't last long, obviously, and by the late 60s, there is decline already, for various reasons, of course. The coming of television, obviously, is one that killed off, by and large, a certain percentage of the market. By the late 60s, the output from the Shaw Studios and the Cathay Studios are decreasing in terms of number, but in terms of the quantity as well as the quality of the films. It would seem that they are not investing, the money to sustain the making of Malay films in Singapore.
In addition to the commissioned montage by Royston Tan, featuring a brief history of the early development of cinema in Singapore, visitors can look forward to seeing clips from the films Lion City and Singapore. The Film and Wayang Gallery is made up of 2 sections, one of which is the Wayang section. It has a rich collection of artifacts, including ornate costumes, musical instruments, and hand puppets. Stage props are also used to trace the development of Chinese opera and puppetry in Singapore. The complex material culture of opera is particularly illustrated in the intricately sequined opera costumes and accessories worn by artists of the Sin Yong Hua Heng Teochew Opera Troupe and the Cantonese Kwong Wah Dramatic Troupe. These galleries beautifully chronicle Singapore's rich blend between its culture and storytelling, entertaining generations past while preserving something for the future.